Is it really possible to create sexual tension immediately with a random woman that you just met? And can this sexual tension be so intense that it actually turns her on and makes her feel aroused? Let me tell you, man, it's all about creating that movie moment that pretty much every woman fantasizes about, yet they hardly ever experience it. My name is Matt Artisan from The Attractive Man, and this is how to create sexual tension immediately. I'm Matt.
He has mastered the art of seduction.
Many boot camps encourage men to be assertive.
A woman wants to be turned on. We've done all the testing, and we know what works. This is really important because when you do this, you're pretty much never gonna land in the friend zone again. There are 5 key points to make this work and not come off as creepy. There's a fine line between having a sexual vibe that creates tension and being creepy. Hey, baby. And you'll want to vary the intensity depending on the situation. For example, at work, I don't recommend doing this at all. Whereas during the daytime at maybe a park, at a mall, a coffee shop, wherever, you can definitely play around with this and definitely use it. Same thing on a date. And even at a bar or club, you can amp it up a lot more. And of course, it also depends on the girl. Some girls are into it right away. They can activate their sexual feminine vibe very quickly. Other girls are a little bit more closed off sexually, and they're not gonna be reciprocating right away. But don't give up. Practice and fine-tune the things that I'm about to teach you, and you're gonna get awesome results. First, I want you to focus on feeling sexual in your body. Don't be afraid of your own turn-on, your own masculine sexual energy. Now, I know sometimes society tells us that this is wrong, but fuck society. Social norms are often very wrong. It used to be the norm to think that the world was flat. Now, a word of warning, don't do this at work. You will get fired. Now, once you get used to it, you can turn it on and off pretty much at any moment. Especially when you're talking to a woman, you'll allow that just sexual part of you just to elevate. When you're talking to a guy, not so much. So one way to get into that sexual state is think about a past sexual experience. One of your best and most favorite sexual experiences. Go ahead and take a second to do that right now. You may not want to look at me while you're doing that. Now, after you've thought about that experience, doesn't that change the way you feel just a little bit? Don't you feel like you're in a different state? You're a little bit more calm, relaxed. You probably have a subtle, sly smirk on your face right now. Well, guess what? Now you have a more sexual vibe, and beautiful women can feel that. Now, I'm not talking about the pickup artist, Leisure Suit Larry type vibe where you're like, hey, baby. If that's the case, you need to tune it down. That's way too much. Now, one way you're gonna convey this new vibe is through what I call the look of desire, which is more than just having strong eye contact. Because you can have strong eye contact with a girl and it looks very creepy. Not good. This, however, is a very specific look. I want you to look at her with appreciation. Appreciate her feminine beauty. Women love to feel desired by a powerful, masculine man. So when you look deep into her eyes, she can actually feel that masculine essence. She will feel it and it will be very intoxicating. I have a friend in his 40s who's bald and he's 5'3" and is a master at showing his intensity and his power through his eyes. And it's landed him a lot of tall, stunning women. So I want you to look at her like you know that you could give her the utmost sexual satisfaction if she was so lucky. You see, when you have that type of mentality, your entire demeanor shifts. That's a very specific type of eye contact, and women find it irresistible. Another way to amp up the sexual tension is to pause and speak slowly, especially when you first approach that woman. For example, if you walk up to her and say, hi, this is really unexpected, but I just saw you here and I wanted to say hi. Hi. There's absolutely nothing special about that. There's no sexual tension, and it seems really nervous, like I need to say everything I have to say as quickly as possible because I don't believe in myself. I don't believe that she's gonna listen to me. Not attractive. However, if I walk up to her and I say, hey, real quick, this is totally random, but I just saw you here and I had to come over and say hi. I just thought you were really cute. Do you see how those pauses and speaking slower increase the intensity and the sexual tension in that interaction. You see, a couple things happen during those pauses. Of course, it increases the intensity because she doesn't know who I am. I'm a random guy on the street. I'm a random stranger approaching her. So, of course, there's going to be some intensity. It creates drama. It creates anticipation. She doesn't know what I'm going to say next. Also, during those brief, 1 or 2 second moments of silence, I'm grounding myself. I'm just allowing myself to look at her and really breathe her in and appreciate her beauty. And she can feel that. Oh, hey, by the way, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button because I have a lot more videos coming out. And also hit that bell icon down at the bottom so that you get notified every time I come out with a new video. Another really easy way to increase that sexual tension is to stand a little bit closer to her. Now, you don't want to overdo this and stand right in her face, because that can seem obviously a little creepy, weird, and even threatening and make her feel unsafe. So what I'm talking about is very subtle. It's about an inch or two into her personal space. Her personal space is about arm's distance away. This is a pretty comfortable distance for two strangers. However, if you just take a little step into her personal space, not too much, like I said, about 2 or 3 inches max, this will really increase the sexual tension. She will feel your masculine presence even more intensely. Now, if she takes a step back, it just means she's not ready yet, and give her that space. However, some women will actually take a step closer to you to increase that intensity even more. And what is crucial is that you just stand there and be present and grounded in that moment. If she takes a step towards you, do not take a step back, because that shows her that you are afraid of her, and she can't be attracted to you if you're afraid of her. And next is touching. So, of course, touching can be very arousing. It increases oxytocin, a hormone that's also experienced during orgasm. But if you do it too much, too soon, if you escalate too quickly or touch her in inappropriate places, that can completely kill the interaction. So I recommend start small and work your way up. In a club type environment, obviously you can escalate a little bit quicker. You can go really close to her, maybe touch her on the small of her back and say something into her ear because it's so loud. You have to get close to her to communicate, which is one benefit of going to bars and clubs. So what can you do to use touch to increase sexual tension during the daytime? It's very simple. Shaking her hand. First of all, you must shake her hand like a man. That doesn't mean crush her hand, but don't do the limp fish. A lot of guys think, oh, she's a girl, she's a delicate little flower, I need to shake her hand, different than I would a guy. But no, shake her hand the same way you would shake a man's hand. Allow her to feel your strength, because a weak handshake can completely kill the attraction. And to take things further and create that sexual tension, hold her hand just a little bit longer than normal. A normal handshake is about 2 or 3 seconds, and play with it, experiment with it. See how long you can hold her hand while maintaining that really strong eye contact, that look of desire, while standing a little bit closer to her than normal to really amp up that sexual tension. Now, of course, at some point, you're gonna break that tension. It can't go on forever. You're gonna go into a normal conversation at some point, but that few moments of sexual tension is what really sparks that intense attraction, makes you really memorable, also makes her comfortable with you, because if she can be comfortable with a complete stranger in the matter of seconds, having that kind of moment, I guarantee you she's gonna want to see you again and take things further, probably very, very quickly. So I hope you're ready to escalate things further with her, because it's the man's job to make the move. So to help you escalate things all the way to the bedroom, I created a free escalation cheat sheet. It's filled with advanced escalation techniques that will turn a platonic, friendly vibe into a more sexual, I want to rip your clothes off vibe. This is very useful when you're talking to girls and it's going nowhere. Click the image in the bottom right of the screen right now to download your free escalation cheat sheet. There's also a link down in the description. Get it, because you'll want to keep it handy before you go out. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you want us to work with you in field, make sure to check out our bootcamp schedule. My name's Matt Artisan from The Attractive Man, and I'll see you in the next video.